what did his jersey mean as far as Dirk's jersey going up in the rafters mean to you?
It was amazing. Seeing my favorite players all hanging up in the last 5 or 6 years has been painful. Seeing Derek Jeter hanging up and he get his final walk off the year I moved to Florida. Peyton Manning win a Super Bowl and hang it up for Denver a few years after that, if not the following year. Dirk Nowitzki retiring a few years after that. So, I mean, all my legends, all my favorite players have been cemented in their respective league history. Obviously, Jeter's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Peyton Manning's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And we all know that Dirk Nowitzki will be one as well. So, to know that I grew up in an era with just incredible icons, incredible favorite players, incredible teams. Thankfully, my dad raised my brother and I to pick whatever teams we liked as children, and we kind of stuck with it. 2003, 2004, Steve Nash's final year before he goes to Phoenix. Kind of just turn a random game on, and before you know it, my dad's a Laker fan. My brother obviously followed suit, and he's also a Laker fan. I kind of wanted to break away. I kind of wanted to be different. I found that game, and I don't even remember who the hell we were playing it so long ago. I just know that I saw this guy that was just so tall. Obviously, watching Shaq for so many years in LA, just like, I'm used to the big guy dunking the basketball, and I'm seeing him the one-legged fadeaway, the three-point shot, the free throws just being as consistent. Again, I wasn't necessarily fully knowledgeable of how basketball worked yet. I was still kind of learning how to play it myself, and I loved watching it with my dad. It was the way we bonded. But I asked my dad who that guy was. I was like, Dad, who's that tall guy with the long hair? My dad was like, oh, that's Dirk Nowitzki. You drafted 1998. Da, 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 da. My dad had all his memorabilia, sports rookie cards, some jerseys and stuff. So I was always kind of intrigued. And I stuck with it, man. He was really the reason why I stuck towards this team. He was the guy that made me want to watch the Dallas Mavericks. It's the reason why I fell in love with this team. Of course, a few years later, we end up going to the finals and losing to the Heat, to Dwayne Wade, and that incredible team. Questionable referees, questionable calls throughout that series, but neither here nor there. I have accepted that we lost, but the following season, we go and we lead the league with the league's best record. I believe we went 68 and something. We lose to the Warriors as the eighth seed. We were the first one seed to lose to an eighth seed. The following year, Dirk wins MVP. And then 2, 3 years later, we go to the finals against the Miami Heat, against the big three and LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh. And we go out and win in upsetting fashion in 6 games. So Dirk opened my eyes to loyalty. Him, Kobe, obviously people that played 20 plus years with one organization. Um, Dirk was pivotal in my life for basketball, man. I was never tall. Obviously, I'm not 7 feet. I'm not 6'5". But I always found a way to emulate that one-legged fadeaway. I tried to always do something like Dirk. Try to change my jump shot to be like Dirk. But obviously, only one person can shoot like Dirk, and that's Dirk. Um, and he just showed me so much, man. He was such a nice person. Thankfully, God willing, God bless me. I was able to meet him in person after a Miami Heat game, and he signed my jersey off my back. And immediately after he had signed my jersey, I started to cry because it was just like I had met my favorite player that I've admired my whole life, and he signed my jersey on my back, and that's the jersey that I want to hang in the office to display for not only you guys on the podcast, but for myself to remind me that like dreams are possible. You always want to meet a celebrity. You always want to say like what would you say if you met this person. I was just starstruck. Mr. Nowitzki, can you sign my jersey? Like that, those are the only words I got out. Everything else was just like not English, not even a language. And I was blessed. My favorite player really went out there and he signed my jersey, and I couldn't have been happier. So, you know, Dirk's jersey getting hung in the rafters was so important to me. I cried for most of the ceremony, if not the entire ceremony, looking at all the highlights and the memories. But shout out to my favorite player, man. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for his family. He set the bar for all future Mavericks. He's a great mentor to Luca. So for everything he's done for the city of Dallas and for people like me, um, he'll always be remembered for everything he's done. And I'm just so thankful I was able to at least meet him and watch him for as long as I did.
Well said, man. Well said. I mean, I'm gonna keep it relatively short. You know, looking at Dirk's career, I mean, when I look at it, I mean, he's one of the greatest international players that's ever touched an NBA court before. I mean, you can arguably say that he's the greatest international player of all time in NBA history. And when I look at Dirk, I mean, granted, he was not the most athletic basketball player we've ever seen, but what he lacked in athleticism, he made up for in just his shooting mechanics. And I mean, when I look at that fadeaway off the left foot, I mean, it was a thing of beauty to watch. I mean, I'll never forget. I think he hit that shot. I think he hit it along the baseline. This was a game where the Mavs were playing the Lakers. This was kind of towards the end of both Kobe's career and Dirk's career, and Kobe wasn't playing in that game. And Dirk hits a clutch baseline jump shot with about like 10 seconds to go. And then, as he's running down the court, Kobe gives him a little butt tap and just kind of, has a face of just like, good shot, bro. Good shot. Dirk was one of the most consistent players that we've not only seen for the Dallas Mavericks, but really throughout, the NBA in the last 2 decades or so. So I think the whole jersey ceremony, the retirement that he went through as far as his jersey getting hung up in the rafters, I think I mean, it was going to happen. I mean, it was obvious it had to happen, and I'm glad that Dirk was able to experience it. I'm glad that you, as a Mavs fan, were glad to experience it. But when I look at Dirk, just a great basketball player, obviously probably responsible for one of the biggest upsets in NBA Finals history against the 2011 Miami Heat with a team that assembled LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. I mean, nobody kind of expected that series to go the way that it did, but Dirk was the pivotal force in that series for the Mavs. And I mean, you got to give it up to the guy. I mean, one of the most phenomenal players that we will see in NBA history. And I think his jersey getting hung up in the rafters the other night in Dallas, I think it was well deserved. So congratulations to Dirk on his jersey getting retired. Just kind of end it there.